let's look at some definitions. First of all, if the remainder is eventually 0, which for all the division problems that we've done thus far, we've always eventually gotten a remainder of 0. The decimal point is said to be, the decimal number is said to be terminating. So, for example, 17.2 and 0.3682, they're terminating decimal numbers. But if the remainder is not eventually 0, so we're going to see some examples here where we don't get 0 as a remainder. If it's not eventually 0, the decimal number is said to be non-terminating. So, for example, 1.333333, and these little dots just mean that the 3's just keep repeating. This is a non-terminating decimal number. So, if the decimal number is a repeating decimal, then you have a number that just repeats itself. For example, the 33333333. A repeatant is the repeating digit or the repeating blocks of digits. A bar is placed over the repeatant to indicate that it repeats continuously. Okay, so let's look at some examples. Divide. For non-terminating decimals, round the quotient to the nearest hundredth. For repeating decimals, use the bar notation. So, pay attention to your instructions. For repeating decimals, use the bar notation. Alright, so let's look at our first example. 23.4 divided by a 0.57. Remember, we don't like to divide by decimal numbers, so we'll move this decimal point over twice to the right, which then means we have to move this decimal twice to the right. Now we're going to have to add a 0 as a placeholder. Since we moved this twice to the right, so we need a 0 right here. Here's our setup. 2,340. Inside our division box. 57 on the outside. And here we go. How many times does 57 go into 234? Let's try 4 times. 57 times 4. 4 times 7 is 28. Carry the 2. 4 times 5 is 20, plus the 2 is 22. So, 57 goes into 234 4 times. That product is 228. We will have a difference of 6. Bring down the 0. 57 will go into 61 times. 1 times 57 is 57, with a difference of 3. We'll add a 0 as a placeholder, and we'll bring down the 0. How many times does 57 go into 30? Well, it doesn't. So we're going to add another 0. How many times does 57 go into 300? Well, because 50 times 6 is going to be 300, let's see what happens when we multiply 57 by 5. 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 3 is 28. So 57 will go into 300 5 times. 5 times 57 is a 285. We'll have a difference of 15. We're going to add another 0, and we'll bring it down. How many times does 57 go into 150? It's going to go in there twice. 57 times 2. 2 times 7 is 14. Carry the 1. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus the 1 is 114. 2 times 57 is 114. The difference between 150 and 114 is a 36. And at this point, yes, we could add another 0. And we could proceed by asking the question, how many times does 57 go into 360? And what we're probably going to find is that this number just keeps going and going and going. So, pay attention to your directions. For non-repeating decimals, so we have a non-repeating decimal. We're just going to keep getting numbers. Round the quotient to the nearest hundredth. We've already gone out to the thousandths place, haven't we? So we don't need to keep going. We can just stop right here. So we're at the thousandths place with that digit, with that 2 digit. That 2 is less than 5. That means we're going to round down. So this means that our final answer is going to be 51.05. We're going to stop right there. We don't have to go on any further. Okay, problem number 16. 0.02 divided by 0.9. I don't like dividing by a decimal number. So if I move the decimal one place to the right here to get 9, I have to move the decimal one place to the right up here so that we have a 0.2. So in our division box, we have 0.2, 9 on the outside. Let's see what happens as we begin dividing. Don't forget to line your decimal point up in your quotient. 9 doesn't go into 2. So we're going to add a 0 after the 2 and ask the question, how many times does 9 go into 20? Well, it goes in there 2 times because 2 times 9 is 18. We have a difference of 2. We'll add a 0, bring it down. How many times does 9 go into 20? 2 times, because 2 times 9 is 18, a difference of 2. And do you see what's happening now? We're going to keep getting a difference of 2. Add a 0. How many times does 9 go into 20? 2 times. 2 times 9 is 18. Difference of 2. We're just going to keep getting this remainder of 2. So this is what's called a repeating decimal. It's going to keep repeating on and on and on and on. So what we're going to do is we're going to identify the number that keeps repeating. That number that keeps repeating is this 2. So the way that we express our answer is 0.02, and we're going to put a bar above that 2 to indicate that it keeps repeating and repeating on and on and on.